7 hats off to Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer, now in his 90s, is a man of many talents. He's a singer, a songwriter, a mathematician, and one of the first employees of the National Security Agency, a veritable Renaissance man. Tom was working on a naval base in the 1950s when he invented the Jell-o shot to circumvent the base's policy about drinking on the job. That's where he comes into our story. Thanks, Tom. Thanks a lot. How do you know where to go? I asked Sharon Jean as we got into the car. Mandy King texted me the directions. Sharon Jean fiddled with her phone. Turn right onto Raccoon Creek Drive, Google Maps said. But how does Mandy King know where? I asked. She's a fan, Sharon Jean said. Evidently, this Randall Wayne Tackett was considered such a catch that he had followers. We drove to some area southwest of Pikeville, I'm guessing. We went from a commercial area with strip malls to an area with more upscale businesses to a middle-income residential area, and finally to a neighborhood with big yards and huge upscale houses. I thought it sure would be nice to have that kind of money. When we got there, we knew it was the right place because of the cars. There were dozens parked, one wheel on the pavement and one on the grass. I recognized many from the House of Wax. We had to go a good distance down the road before we found a place to park, and then we walked back to Randall Wayne's Crescent driveway. He had a large, manicured front yard. We heard music coming from the back of the house as we approached. The front door was solid oak, with brass carriage lights on either side. I had never seen a door that fancy. There was a sign scotch-taped to it that said, "Come on in." We walked into an entryway that was bigger than our living room. I swear, people around here are either dirt poor or got money coming out their ears, I said. I looked up. There was an honest-to-God chandelier, just like in the movies, hanging from a ceiling that was probably 20 feet high. We wandered toward the back. There was a great room, a huge TV on the wall to our left, a viewing area with a conversation pit, a dining area, and a kitchen, all combined. A scruffy-looking dude in a Hawaiian shirt was getting things out of the refrigerator. He resembled serial killer Charles Manson, but without the creepy vibes. "Welcome, ladies," he said when he saw us. "Everyone's out back." I figured, Sharon Jean said. The sign on the door said to come in, and I wanted to see the house. He came around the counter. "Sharon Jean Hall," she said, offering her hand like a European princess. He took her hand lightly and gave her a polite nod. "I know," he said. "Charlie Tackett, pleased to meet you." He looked at me and smiled. "April Ray Hall," I said. I extended my hand. I curtsied as if I were in a Jane Austen novel. He took my hand gently and said, "Miss." He nodded to the backyard patio. "Go on ahead. Randall Wayne's out there. We got soda, beer, and hot dogs." We went outside through the open French doors. There was a throng out there. "How do you know Charlie Tackett?" I asked. "I don't." "He seemed to know you." She shrugged. "You go amuse yourself. I'm making the rounds." She ditched me and made her way into the crowd. People were talking, laughing, and drinking. There was an in-ground pool with fully clothed people swimming. There was a jacuzzi. There was a DJ playing dance music. A wave of melancholy hit me. It wasn't right. How could these people be having so much fun when I was so miserable? I went to an empty corner of the patio to be alone. It was darker and quieter there. I looked up at the night sky and felt tears coming. I fought them for a minute, and then I let them come. I heard a voice behind me. "What do you think you're doing?" A man's voice, with mock indignation. It startled me. I turned. It was Randall Wayne Tackett with a tray of Dixie cups. "I'm sorry," I said, wiping my eyes and wondering what I had done wrong. "There's only one rule at my house," he said, "and you're breaking it. No crying." I smiled a little. Randall Wayne Tackett. Professor Randall Wayne Tackett is what I heard. "So you have a PhD?" "No, ma'am. I was lucky to graduate high school. It's an honorific. When you get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're allowed to call yourself professor so you can feel special." He looked me in the eye. "Are you okay?" "I'll be all right," I said. "I'm just going through some stuff." "I'm a pretty good listener if you feel like talking," he said. He offered the tray of Dixie cups. "Would you like a shot?" he asked. "No, thank you," I said. "I'm only 18. He did a half-turn and nodded to the crowd. "We're outside the city limits. We're all breaking the law here. Because Pike County is a moist county. Alcohol is illegal in general, but the city law supersedes the county ordinance. So alcohol is illegal in Pike County except inside the city limits of Pikeville itself. I figured, why not? What could it hurt? LOL, LOL. I took one of the Dixie cups, put it to my lips, and slurped it. "That's my girl," Randall Wayne said. It wasn't bad. You could barely taste the alcohol. I took another one. "Do you have a name, or should I call you Beautiful Sad Girl?" "I'm sorry," I smiled. "April Ray Hall." I curtsied again. He found it amusing. "Any relation to Sharon Jean Hall?" "She's my big sister. I can see the resemblance." That was a compliment. Sharon Jean is really pretty. "I think I met your brother once." My face got hot. "We don't have a brother. That was me." "Really?" He laughed, stepped back, and looked me up and down with admiration. "Well, I apologize. I'll never make that mistake again." The flirting was strong with this one. He held the Jell-o shots closer. "Take more. I have to mingle. I'll see you again." I took 2 more shots and sat in a patio chair. About the time I finished the 4th Dixie cup, the DJ put on that old Donna Summer song, "I Feel Love." It's one of my favorite tunes. People started dancing. I don't know what got into me. I got up and started dancing too. It's crazy because I don't dance at all, not even when I'm alone at home. But there I was, shaking my tail feathers with a bunch of strangers. Once I got going, I couldn't stop. Every tune after that was my jam. It was like that fairy tale about the girl with the enchanted shoes. Randall Wayne came by with Jell-o shots again. "You doing okay?" he asked. "Oh yeah," I told him. I took 2 more Jell-o shots and downed them. I pulled out more dance moves, without a clue where they came from. At one point, the crowd formed a circle around me like I was John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. The rest of the night was a blur. I remember Randall Wayne trying to tell me something, and I couldn't hear him over the noise. I had to get closer and still couldn't hear. I had to get so close that we were chest to chest. He put an arm behind me, pulled me into him, and brushed the hair away from my ear with the fingers of his other hand. He whispered something. When his breath touched my ear, my legs went weak. He had to hold me upright for a second. It was too much. I pushed myself away, got my bearings, and started dancing again. Eventually, the crowd thinned out. I saw Sharon Jean and Randall Wayne sitting side by side in patio chairs watching me. Randall Wayne seemed to be enjoying the show I was putting on. Sharon Jean was frowning. After a while, the music stopped. I wasn't ready to quit. "Hey," I said, and looked around. The DJ was packing up his equipment. Most of the crowd had gone. "It's time to go, sis," Sharon Jean said. She stood. "You can spend the night if you want," Randall Wayne said. "I'll make you breakfast in the morning." "Oh, hell no," she said. She grabbed my hand and pulled. I suddenly noticed how beautiful the night sky was. "Oh," I said, "look at the stars." That's the last thing I remember from that night.